Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. I, Azhar Maulana Kribi Siddiq and my partner, Nuki Damayanti, will be the presenters for this meeting. This meeting is going to focus on assessing the important affective which is included on non-cognitive aspects. There are 8 points we will talk about. First, definitions. Second, domains. Third, taxonomy. Fourth, reason. Fifth, advantages and limits. Sixth, validity and reliability. 7. Method, tools and approaches. And the last, effective assessment based on Indonesia curriculum. Classroom Assessment, a practical guide for educators, book written by Craig Medler. He said that assessment may not only focus on subject matter learning or cognitive skills, but it is also on student characteristics. These characteristics include attitudes, values, and emotions. Well, let's define the term affect. It generally refers to emotions and feelings and is thought to encompass broader qualities. Its qualities are thought to influence personal interests, likes, perceptions, and other qualities. Here is the competencies of affective assessment. It is often stated in the form of instructional objectives. They are behavioral and expressive. First, behavioral objective specifies an observable, measurable behavior to be exhibited, the conditions under which is to be exhibited, and the criterion for mastery. And second, expressive objective. It specifies an educational activity but does not specify the particular outcome of the activity. Then we continue to talk about the domain of affective assessment. The domain is on students' behavior that addresses attitudes, emotions, values, interests, feelings, motivations, and other. These affective characteristics are construct that can only be inferred from action in situation. First domain is attitudes. The first attitude is from Latin and defined within the framework of social psychology as a subjective or mental preparation for action. This domain evaluating a particular entity with some degree of favor or disfavor. Second domain is emotion. As Hein defined emotional intelligence as understanding of the emotional feelings, expression, identification, retention used for organizing. The third domain is values. The values students have regarding truthfulness and integrity shape their daily conduct. It depends upon the social and cultural environment surrounding the individual. Next domain is interest. The McQuire at 1987 defines interest as the feelings of one whose attention or curiosity is particularly engaged by something. And the last is motivation. Motivation is the reason or set of reasons for engaging in particular behavior. Those reasons can be a basic need or an object, goal, state of being, or ideal that is desirable. Let's take a look at the taxonomy. As we see, it is represented as a triangle, so the basic level starts from the bottom to the top subsequently. We start from receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and characterization. Let's look at each level individually. The first level is revising. Basically, at this level, the learner will first be aware, be willing to hear or receiving, and be attentive. The second level is responding. So students are doing more than just attending here. The learner are actually responding to the knowledge at this level. The learner will be willing to respond, will be reacting, not just listening to the knowledge being imparted and being satisfied to respond. Next level is valuing. In this level, the participant is not just receiving the information or responding to it, but at this level, the learner will first attach a value to the phenomenon, second strongly associate it with the topic, and third demonstrate commitment to certain value. And the next is organization. At this level, the learner will first prioritize different values, resolve conflicts. Second, emphasize prioritizations. Final level is characterization. At this level, the learner will completely internalize his or her values and behave in accordance, be predictable in his or her behavior and in supporting these values.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all my explanation about this affective assessment, and then it will be continued by my partner Nuki Damayanti. Well, Nuki Damayanti, now is your turn.
Thank you for the time, Azhar. After Azhar's explanation about types of taxonomy from the affective domain, now it's me, Nuki Damayanti, turn invite all of you seeing deeply on our topic today. Let's see the reasons for assessing affective behaviors. The first one is the fact may have equal importance to cognitive ability with respect to motivation and etc. The second one, the assessment of affect can guide future inclusion of effective instruction. While the last one, it can be used to monitor interests or attitudes during instruction. Why assessing affective behaviors can be difficult. The first is difficult to measure constructs as it tends to have low reliability. The second is tendency for students to give socially acceptable responses. And the third, at the secondary level, focus is on attainment of cognitive outcomes, not the effective one. And then the last will be the pressure from political and religious groups who are opposed to non-academic instruction. And now, let's see the advantages of it. Unstructured observations can occur in natural setting, are not restricted to predetermined lists, while structured observations provide more form and guidance. It is more feasible and manageable. Meanwhile, self-reports allow students to respond directly about their feelings, attitudes, and so on. Herewith the advantages for teachers. Number one, it is specific, measurable, short-term, and observable to use. Number two, it builds lesson and assessments that meet goals or objectives. And number three, it develops interest for a subject matter. How about with the students' advantages? The first, it encourages students to learn and understand. It nurtures a desire for the students to continue learning, either in the subject at hand or in other areas. The second one, it develops self-discipline and positive attitude towards learning. And then it has the potential in helping to increase the student learning. Student also learns more than just receiving information, but also their motivation, personality, and attitude. The limits are presents the greatest challenge because it is the most difficult and complex of all evaluation or assessment tasks. Difficulty in objectively analyze and assess, since affective objectives vary from simple attention to selected phenomena to complex. It is also internally consistent qualities of character and conscience. And then the processes in education today aim at developing the cognitive aspects of development, and very little or no time is spent on the development of the affective domain. Now, let's talk about some categories of affective assessment. It can be divided into 5. The first is social adjustment. It is an adaptive behavior and social development as indicated by responses to rules, responsibility, and interpersonal relationships with teachers and students. It also includes assertiveness, friendliness, cooperation, collaboration, and also empathy. The second one is attitudes. It is relatively stable internal tendencies that influence what students are likely to do. So attitudes have objects, attitudes towards something. Preferences for participating in particular activities can be categorized as interest. It can help teachers to select supplemental materials or design examples that are of interest. Meanwhile, we know about good citizenship, that is including the world peace, freedom, happiness, being honest, ambitious, responsible and helpful. That is including in the values, because the standards that determine and states of existence, self-conduct, and presentation of self considered as values. The last one is about beliefs and feelings about oneself, which categorize as self-attitudes. That is including self-concept, self-esteem, and self-efficacy. Very important in classroom settings because they influence motivations, willingness to take risks, and etc. Best for teachers to focus on academic self-attitude. Now, let's go further of the validity and reliability. Validity in effective measures can consist of these aspects. Decisions must be based on objective observations. Prior identifications of particular characteristics will guide the observations itself. Students must respond truthfully. Samples must be adequate. Sources of error are innumerable. Teachers must base decisions on multiple and diverse measures. That is the aspects of reliability. Herewith, we will see the methods of assessing effective outcomes. Teacher observations can be done by watching or listening to students. Recall considerations and limitations of observations, and also observations may be unstructured, open-ended, or structured. Predetermined checklists or rating scales. Rating scales may be Likert scales or Likert type scale. We inserted the teacher observation form for your viewing. What happened with student self-report? Students, rather than teachers, complete the instrument. Published instruments exist, but not very practical for classroom use. Students may not take them seriously and must be motivated to respond honestly. Typical structure consists of statements. Students are directed to circle or check their preferred responses. The alternative or forced response, showing few options of answer, and should respond with a yes or no. For example, my understanding of today's topic depended on how my teacher discussed it. Then, getting good scores makes me feel better and more appreciated by everybody. The last one, I consider myself good in this subject. So, which yes or no you should put in every section. The next one is the ranking system. Here's the example. Please rank from 1, which is most important, to 5, which is least important, the things you consider in selecting a course for your master's degree. Is it academic reputation, cost of attending the course, convenience to home or work, it's a weekend class, or the requirements for the course? We can see the Likert scale as seen on your slide. School attitudes. The respondent should give tick in one of each column that they think is their command. And the response, for example, I am able to understand what I am supposed to learn, or I know I can learn things even if they are either new or too difficult for me. And then, I'm not sure if I'm making progress as fast as I'm expected to. And the last one is I feel stressed out when I have to meet the schedules given to me to learn the lesson. We can use the semantic differential. For example, attitudes toward the lesson. Is it easy or hard? Important or useless? Boring or interesting? Too fast or too slow? And is it effective or doesn't work? The free answered format can be done through the open-ended question. Fill in the blanks. You have 5 options. Number 1, I think English is. Number 2, the teacher is. Number 3, what I like about today's lesson is. Number 4, if I learned something today, it's. Number 5, during breaks, that is the presentation of affective assessment from both of us. Thank you for watching and see you next time.